Order at 6:32. Please give the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Holy chair. So, roll call, please, sir.
Steve Goes, Mike Musa,
Stephanie Miller.
Joe Spencer,
And I believe we have Shelley Listen Cascola.
Kelly Capital.
Yes.
Paul's there too.
I'm here. Hi.
And now I know we're waiting for a couple more athletes. I see people walking in right now, so maybe slowly move our way over here. Joe. Now we have a voice.
Correct. Yep.
You know, just to waste time, I can say that I was the holder of the 8 and under 25-yard backstroke, state record for obviously decades ago, for I think about 3.2 seconds. Now, I was a swimmer, I stayed in college, and I'm very impressed with your times. Oh my God, compared to, even the times, when you're still in our swimming, the times are very, very impressive. No, it comes first to you.
Very, very impressive season. And you were with us with a pool that had the turning conditions and a timing system that needed to be repaired. And we appreciate your development on that.
Although I probably would have gotten those times, I stand back short, but I couldn't do the turnover and do the, I had to do the touch the wall turn stuff, I'm sure I probably would have been close to your times if I could have done it. It kind of picked them up. So we're waiting for one.
Yeah. I can go over some of the details. So our boys swim team, like you said, went through a lot of difficulties this year with some of the issues that we had with the pool. Very fortunate to have a great coach in Matt Sanangelo and his assistant Miranda Gursky, who not only are boys swim and dive coaches, but our girls swim and dive coaches as well. Very dedicated to some, and has been a pleasure to work with this year. Very successful girls season and an even more successful boys season. We finished second in the NBL championship. That's a great accomplishment. There are a lot of great swim teams in the NBL, especially in the boys season, and for our boys and our coaching staff to have them finish in that second place in the NBL. It's a great accomplishment. So that's something that should be applauded. We were in the Class S state championships for our swimmers. We had a fantastic showing in the states as well. The 5 swimmers that we are honoring tonight are all NBL. They were selected to the all NBL team as well as the all state team. One swimmer in particular was named as the outstanding swimmer of the NBL, the outstanding senior of the NBL, as well as the outstanding swimmer for Class S. So, yeah, yeah. So I'll introduce the young men up here now, and if you want to give them their certificate.
Is everybody here?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So-
your first name.
So we heard you first names is since this broadcast is on live on the internet, so for security reasons, we try and keep it first name for students. So Noah?
Connor,
Now you all set the graduation.
Got it.
No problem. Look at how you've done.
And Anthony? William?
No?
What's your-
What, butterfly? Restaurant.
And Ryan?
Freestyle.
And Ryan?
Sure.
and Coach San Angelo is here as well.
We're gonna take a picture in a moment, but once again, we want to congratulate our boy swimmers and the coaches, and so as athletic director, in return, you know that when you're children participate in activities like this, it's a lot of time on their part and your part guiding them and attending these events, and participation is a meaningful part of the high school experience, and thank you for all that you do to contribute to their success as well. So congratulations again.
All
Thank
right,
you.
great. Thank you.
Nice job.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, she was already there twice, right? Okay. Okay.
Assuming she's okay?
All right, guys, I made my round.
Off to Booster Clubs.
Booster Club next.
Second.
So we, discussion. Nicole, did you have an edit for the March 8th?
I submitted the edit to Claire. I don't know if there's anything more I have to add other than what was in the email regarding the policy that I was actually there.
So we have to say, what edit is, does that make a difference?
Well, are these edited ones or these I wasn't aware of any edit, so
So
they're edited, you probably don't have the edited ones then.
I might not have gotten the edited version then.
Yeah, so we'll, let's table them till the meeting. We don't have to-
Why can't you just say?
You can also motion and approve it with the edit that you're changing tonight.
Well,
Where is, yeah, I mean, up to us.
The only change was that Nicole presented it, she was here.
Right.
I had it as a gap. That's the next meeting? I think so. Yeah, I did present that. Nicole was here on
So the eighth one was correct, it's the next one that
the 25th.
Nicole had that for. So for this one, Nicole did not have that for this particular. Correct. So there's no worries for this minutes.
Oh, I thought it was the March 8th.
Right, that's March. No, it was the first one, it was March. But it's already changed on the Google Docs. I mean,
But I understand, I need to put it into the record, what the change is, and then we vote.
oh, it's not in there that way. No. So the motion.
So this is not correct.
But I know what's the correct then. So Nicole, you saying you were here on March 8th?
I'm sorry, Deb, I couldn't hear you. It cut out.
So. On March 8th, you were here?
March 8th, I was present. The meeting that you covered for me, I was in Florida. That was in February.
Okay, okay. So we'll just change. So policy subcommittee, we'll just take my name off. And then I'll say. Nicole.
That was the only change, right?
So.
But, you know, you gotta do it.
So we I didn't know that was a change. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. So let's take, let's withdraw the original motion. Because I made it to approve. Right. So. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the March 8th minutes as corrected.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Or abstain? Motion carries.
Sorry, I didn't. know that. Motion to approve the March 22nd. Board of Education.
Any discussion or changes on that? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Or abstaining? Motion carries. I believe it's all staff here, no ordinance.
Okay, so as we introduce them in a moment, I'm just going to set the stage here. So prior to this past year, we had one math coach that worked K-5, that was Andy. One of the improvements that Dr. McKinnon added to the budget was the second math coach, that we have a full-time one at Fisher Farm, and full-time math coach at Grado. So this refers to have had two individuals working at two different elementary schools. These two are a phenomenal team. In fact, you'll hear some of the work that they've done with this branch and beyond on the two elementary schools, for some of the PD that they've done, our staff. I addressed it slightly in the report. They have some role in SRI, but that is not their primary function. They also match tutors in the school that service tier 3. So I'll address some of what they do and how that overlaps with some of the tier 3 tutors in their role. We're not having answers to some of the questions tonight. We'll work on getting it in a follow report to you. But they're going to share with you a kind of day in the life of what a math coach is, to kind of experience what their role is and what their primary expectation is for them on a day-to-day basis. So I will turn it over to Dorothy to introduce them, and then they're going to share. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to show our math coaches with you today. Although their passions are in math instruction and supporting students, they were meant to and help build a positive culture in the class. But during some of sharing just a snippet of what they do.
Thank you everyone for having us tonight, and we're actually going to start tonight's presentation with a little warm up, like you would any math lesson. So Andy's going to come around, and there's two questions: how many do you see, and how do you see them? No, it's just not available right now. Definitely not yet. No.
So what we'd really like to do is give you an idea of what the students go through, at the beginning of each lesson.
How many do you see and how do you see them? And we'll talk about why that's. So the great thing about these questions and this activity, it allows access to any level of students that are higher level thinkers will have one specific, might have one answer, and students that might have trouble accessing some of this information might have a different answer. But quickly going around, how many do you see? What do you see there? Who's got an answer for us?
23 apples, 2 boxes, 1 ball.
Excellent. Love it.
Fractions and apples that I see.
You can speak to
Apples, full.
and 23 fractions. 23 you saw it.
Anybody else see something different?
24.
I'm the count one. Just in a little shadow of it.
Yeah, so I mean, just thinking like your response, right? How many you see, allow to focus on the aspect, you see great tables, you see, and that's what we're so amazed when we offer an activity like this to students, is they will come up with the most amazing answers. I'm talking about first graders that are 6 years old will see things that I would have just even thought about, right? So this new program has an access point for higher level thinkers, for beginning learners, and it's great. Now, our role is to help facilitate some of this learning, right? It's a new program, and Andy and I have been, one of our big roles is the communication aspect, right? We go around and communicate with, I would say, every single teacher within that school within every 2 days, 2 or 3 days, we're communicating with every single teacher within the school. We're checking in, how are things going? How can we support you? How are the lessons going? So we're communicating with them at all times. A big part of our role is working with students. We're working with students. We're communicating with the teachers. How can we help your class? How can we help your students? Are we pulling groups out? Are we pushing in? Are we co-teaching lessons? Am I going to teach a lesson today? And you kind of just observe, right? And I hopped in right today with one of the step two over here. And we just co-taught a lesson. I saw some things and I said, do you mind if I hop in? And we just kind of, taught the class together. Working with the parent community, I think that's one of the really big things that we're trying to do as well, is because parents, we often get that communication. It's like, I didn't do math this way growing up. What is this new math? I don't understand it. And we're really trying to hit that parent community as well. Say, there's things that we can do to help support them, right? So Andy and I started a podcast recently, and we put those out to the parent community. We reached over 100 listens on our podcast. I'm kind of proud of that. You listen?
You listen to the whole thing?
I did it for your last one, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. So we're trying to just get creative. Yeah. Well, we're just trying to get creative and really communicate with that parent community. We thought that would be a great way to communicate with them. We're also planning on putting some videos together that we can send out to the parent community about how we can work through some of the problems. And one of the last things I want to mention is that one of the other things that we can do is because we are in classrooms every day, we collect data. We can see some of these trends across grade level within our school systems, and even within kind of vertically aligning things, because I communicate with Andy on a daily basis, and we're seeing trends at Quaker Farms, and how do those trends continue at Great Oak? And looking at ways that we can bring our work to help support teachers, to help support students. And I know one of the things that we talk about here over you is in June, Andy's going to come down to Quaker Farms, and we're going to really push those second graders, because they're heading into a new school in the third grade, and we want to really hit on certain skills to make sure when they get into third grade, they're gonna hit the ground running. So finding those trends, and we're gonna talk more to that through an example in just a little bit.
You know, he made a point of communication. Just the communication between him and I about the transition between second and third grade is just gonna be so much better this year. And we're going to hone in on some of those skills needed for in the beginning of third grade and really try to attack those, those last days of June, there's not a lot going on, but those small groups we can take, we can hit upon some of those skills right away. Just to give you an idea too about being like math coach. Even this morning, we started a meeting about summer, we call it the summer slide. Sometimes the kids aren't, they don't really actively, every single day do all their schoolwork. So we're trying to have a meeting with our ELA personnel and get some students to really kind of get going in math in the middle of the summer. And we have some special ideas that we're gonna try and float around the students and promote kind of math awareness in the summer with the ELA, do some fun activities. So we had a meeting this morning regarding that with our ELA personnel, just get some thoughts and ideas.
So that summer slide is a real thing. Students that go through the summer, come back the next year, levels below where they were ending the year, and so we really want to just try to hit on some of those things and kind of level the playing field a little bit.
And, on a daily basis, we're in the classrooms. For example, today, there might have been a couple of teachers out today, and I go in there and I take care of their math. And one of the reasons why we do that is we like to keep the pacing going in those math classes. Instead of maybe having a substitute in there that's not completely familiar with the electric mathematics program, we like to keep the pacing going. Also, some modeling lessons for some teachers too. We do that very often on a daily basis as well. And like today, I took small groups, I took a Christian group, I took some SRBI students. And there's conversations, like Aaron said, constantly occurring. I had a teacher come up today about, how can I approach teaching this one lesson? And those conversations are consistent, those happen all the time. And it's a touch base kind of thing too. Hey, I think you should do this. And the problems that we might get on a daily basis, maybe an I ready thing, or how do I do this? We try and solve those. We're really trying to build a math community within our buildings.
And having that professional learning for teachers, Andy and I spent a lot of time looking through the math curriculum, looking through the iReady, the data, the program, and we have those answers when teachers are saying, how do you get this report again, or where do I find this? We hop right in there, and we know it. We spend a lot of our time doing that. And today I had a little time as well, and I'm working on updating the pacing guide, and try to keep that based on where we are and how things are going in the class. So to spend time looking at data, continuously working on those types of things. So,
and certainly it goes to, and even as we get to the second graders coming in third grade, my mindset's always that smart balance aspect of that in my mind. So I'm trying to push those things as well, those little problems to teachers. Hey, this is kind of a higher level thinking question you might see on the aspect. So we're trying to promote that higher level thinking as well as we go through.
So, and I just want to now speak, if you flip your paper over, you're going to see a couple of examples of work that they've been doing. It might look a little weird, a little funky, but we'll take you through. I'm going to take you to that first problem. So I was talking about some of those trends that I see, right? Being in classrooms all the time. I saw a trend where students were, if you look at that top example, we show the number 45 through different manipulatives. This one is using rods and units. So another thing we do is talk about that specific math language. So it's pretty consistent throughout K through 5. Our students will continuously build on that math language and understand those concepts as they go through. So that actually represents the number 45. 4 rods, the 5 units. The 4 rods represents, in this case, pens. The 5 units, 5 ones. If you look at the example below, that would be what I noticed the trend happening throughout second grade of how students would be drawing out their rods and units. It's kind of all over the place. They were disorganized. When you would ask the students, tell me what's going on here, they would get confused themselves with their own work. So I went in and I said, you know what? I think one of the things that we can really do is introduce the math practice standard of attending to precision. So every time I go into classes, this is that tool. Okay. Not practicing, attending to precision, right? So students now know when they come in, I want you to, when you're attending to precision, you're drawing out your rods and your problems. I want them all the same length, about the same distance apart. When you're creating those units, try to do them in 5 frames, in groups of 5. They're much easier to follow. So now when we're adding or taking things away, subtracting those problems, you can very easily see how much you have, what do you need to add on to it. And it's amazing how clear their organization within their thinking occurs. And that even continues with not just attending to precision within your math work, but within your daily lives, right? When you're putting your math papers away, don't just shove them into your folder, but organize them. Be precise where they go. So now when you need to open up your math folder next time, you know exactly where your work is. You know exactly what page you're leaving off on, right? So these skills really get to some of the executive functioning stuff that we've been really trying to push as well, through a mathematical mindset. And it's amazing that the things that we are now seeing, the way students will be able to show their work, explain their work, because they're really being a little bit more precise with how they're putting things together. So one of the trends that I noticed that I really wanted to push, and I think having math coaches, one of my favorite things to do, other than working with students, is supporting teachers. Finding these types of things that I can go in and help teachers. Teachers have had it rough the past few years. And to be in a position now where I feel and support teachers is something that I'm really proud of, and I take a lot of pride in for sure. So.
I don't know, Aaron, you might have already mentioned this, but one of the greatest things about our job is we get to learn. You know, all of these different classrooms, teachers, students, and even aides, you know, their professionals in there. We learn all of these great strategies and things, and we kind of pass them on as best practices throughout the building.
And I just want to interject here. I just keep saying this is my 15th year maybe now in Oxford, and I started working at lower elementary this year at Bigger Farms, and I was not prepared for what I saw in kindergarten. I was not prepared for it. I thought I knew teaching. I thought I was a good educator. Not until I went into kindergarten, and I was like, whoa, what those teachers are doing. I mean, all the teachers at the level, it's really amazing. I am learning more than I could have ever imagined. So absolutely.
And one more thing too about the communication aspect, we are requiring our students to use our technical mathematics. And I even stopped my lessons twice today. So stop. How many times do you hear someone say area, dimension, length, width, partial products we're working on say in 3rd grade? We're kind of demanding that mathematical language as well. And making them have to focus on it. When you speak in technical language, you know, it furthers your mathematics. The last example, I know it's so crazy. We do such a lot of work in the lower grades with numbers on our whole relationship, like 45 and 45, break them apart and decompose them. And this is just a way to define, which, you know, if someone taught me this when, you know, I was in 4th and 5th grade, it would just make it so much easier. It's not very procedural here. You know, you're thinking about place value. And what Aaron and I are really trying to do is change mathematical thinking, as we said. We don't want kids to do something procedurally. We want to change their thinking. So that's just an example. I know.
And you'd be amazed at how many, you know, you give this to a 5th grade student, they'll be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on here. Decompose it to 453 and 453. And they can say, you know, 8 times, they might say 8 times 5 is 40, so 8 times 50 is 400. And I mean, the way that they decompose these numbers, we see math now. Absolutely. We really are trying to push, not just, you know, remember what we say or remember this process, but go to a place of thinking. And I have an application. Absolutely. I have the honor of going in, you know, like Ian said earlier, it's when teachers are out, they'll say, hey, can you come in and teach math in my class today? Absolutely. And you'd be amazed at how many kids, when they see a problem, they don't know what to do. One of the first things, the places they go to, is not shutting down, it's not, you know, looking at a neighbor, is they go to a place of thinking. You'll see kids in a class that, like, and they'll just go to a place like, let me just think about it. It's amazing that shift of that thinking. That's something that we've been pushing a lot, that thinking process. So,
and Aaron and I have done some professional development this year as well, in terms of, you know, we're actually going to middle school tomorrow to do some eye training for the middle school teachers. We've done that in our own building.
So the last.
It's like,
too,
you know, at home professional development. Again, we learn as we go, but we're trying to support teachers that way.
Told somebody should get the bill for our PD.
I just have a quick question. I know you've done some very short, but, you know, looking at this and understanding how the, what you say, deconstructed.
Yeah, proposing, yeah.
Deconstructed.
Yeah.
So now, with all this at the bottom, on top.
Because it's how many groups of 8 do they make. So we would
That's-
share with
that's-
that. That's why I
that's-
underline those. And that actually goes to some of that mathematical organization too. So it's not just, well, 8, does 8 go in 4? Think about how we did that. 8 go in 4. That's not 4, that's 400. So it's how many groups of 8 can you make that gets close to that dividend of 400. So that's how we kind of.
And I would say, look at that.
453,
Look at-
hundreds, tens, and ones.
Exactly. If you look at that 53, it's decomposed again. That 53 is decomposed into a 48 and a 5. Why a 48 and a 5? Let me take a minute to think about why would we do, what we could decompose it in endless amount of ways. But because it's divisible by an 8, that 48 is divisible by an 8. And students recognize that. They will see that and be like, I'm going to do 48 5 because I know if I did, you can't go 56, that would be another group of 8, that would be too many. So they would decompose 48 and 5 and see, I can
The
divide.
students that have not learned the standard algebra. That's actually the standard in 6th grade. Using 6th grade.
Okay, so they're, at
They're
this point,
exploring.
they're not required to come up with 56 and 5.
No, they are.
Oh,
But I'm saying the standard algorithm of division is not required to 6th grade.
by standard out.
Yeah,
Well,
those-
we
yes.
all learned it.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But my question is, so what, and again, because I taught.
Yeah.
I did not teach it this way. So when, the other thing that you learn is if you choose a number that you're most trying to say, so 8 to 5 times 5 is 40. If you do, 8 times 3, and, how do they then,
It's so-
if you, once you subtract, if your number is bigger than your outside number, then you know you didn't hit the button. So how does that check and balance? And
So here's, well, along with this,
maybe I should just come to class.
along with this, we always have our kids check their work. So even if they do get a quotient, they have to check their work. But it's also accessible to a lot of different learners, because let's say you didn't know your 8 times 5 back, and you only knew 8 times 2. You could do partial quotients and add up to that 450. So it's like, for me, looking at this way, it might look foreign, but for students who kind of have the progressions of the pulling apart numbers the way they want to, manipulating them for their, own needs, it actually works.
And you'll notice too, there's no just, remainder 5, right? It's like, what are we doing with that 5? What is that 5 equally? Absolutely. And then actually our philosophy is really like math is not about solving a problem, but understanding the world around us, right? That's what mathematics is. And we're trying to push those ideas too. That we can't just, well, there's a remainder, just throw it off to the side. What do we do with this? Try to make it a real life type of application. So, yeah, I think that is that pretty much is our presentation. So I don't know if there's any other questions about some of these.
Nice job. Questions?
How would I know that these lines are tense?
Well, again, it's like in the project of the K1-2, we use rods. It's actually manipulative.
The colored rods.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a little plastic.
They used to call them
plastic.
laser rods, or they're called baseball rods. Yeah.
It's the modern age of that, yeah.
That's,
So
so what,
I'm just,
to your point, there's common language. So when I get, student in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, they know what a rod is, they know what a unit is, they know its equivalents. And that's what's important.
And I think one of the things that we talk about is sure, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
called base 10. So
And they actually are 10 centimeters. A rod is 10 centimeters. So there is actually a linear measure.
why would they draw?
Why would a first grader? Yeah, I mean, this is an example of a lower elementary, right? Like a 5 or 6 year old who's just putting these things out. And the object is to just kind of slow the pace down. Attend to taking your time, right? It's just like, a carpenter, right? You measure twice, cut once, take your time with it. You don't run, I don't know, that's right. So and it's just building upon those types of ideas of slowing the pace down, really be precise with what you're doing. Don't just rush through it to get through it, to solve the problem, right? Because there's more important parts than just solving the problem.
And a lot of our students that work with an SRI, they don't have those organizational skills. We give them strategies in order to do that, to help them kind of and precision be more accurate with their operations.
These are kids who have been home, for the past couple of years with, hybrid, and COVID, and they, we're really working on some of these executive functioning skills with them, organization and being precise with what you're doing. And those are really important skills right now. A lot of these kids. Yeah, no,
I understand like math,
Yeah.
engineering, look at it, you quickly buy another room.
Yeah.
Or whatever you're doing, you can quickly break it down. Which is very important. You made a comment that they might not know. 14th.
Yes.
At this level,
That's,
they're expected to know what.
yeah, they absolutely are, but there are some students, I mean, every student is individual. They might not, our recall and memory, every student doesn't have that. So we try to look for strategies that can help them. Access.
Where do you learn?
Well, actually, it's in third grade now. So students learn their basic multiplication facts. And that's one of the things we're actually pushing in the summer is, when you're in the car with mom and dad, you're going to practice. I mean, I know I terrorize my own girls about distributed property in the car, but it actually helps, and the repetition of those can help most students, not all. But that's why we like to give strategies to help.
One of the things we mentioned with our podcast as well, is like ways that we can help support learning. It's just like Amy was saying, kind of old school, some of those facts when you're, driving around in the car, going to pick up an ice cream, like, tell me what these facts are. And yeah, just kind of hitting them whatever you can.
Did anybody see 32? Anybody see 32? Well, one of the students, they said there are 4 groups of 4, and they thought in their head. That's that higher level thinking, that access to all groups. I mean, you just see 4 groups of 4, then you have someone that says 32 or 23, and they count the other ones. Our brains think that we really do get taught some aspects.
By student, you wouldn't even imagine. You wouldn't even imagine some of the things that you hear, thinking, things. It's just so cool.
Shelley has her knee up.
Who does?
Shelley does.
Go ahead, Shelley.
Hi, quick question. Very nice job describing everything, by the way, gentlemen. Thank you for that. Would it be possible at any point in time to see all these things sort of in action, like a video of a lesson, or particularly the feedback that you give to the students? Is that possible?
Absolutely. We are producing, we have one, that's a video that we want to put up online for our school's website, so parents can have access to how these progressions are up to speed from grade level to grade level. We're thinking about doing a second grade addition or subtraction. You can see the strategies that we are promoting.
I'm sorry, I missed a little bit of that. Did you say you were in the process of it, or you did do it, or?
Yes, we're in the process of that.
Okay, thank you so much.
We'll certainly share that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more kind of comment, I guess. As this develops, it's now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you guys are laying the foundation for the middle school and the high school. And we know that we hear from the high school and the middle school, and the high school, regarding like, what have those kids done? I came up here and they know nothing. Not from everyone, but so, I'd love to see this, just really the continuity of the development of, almost from 12th grade down, so that, all of those, and that's what we were hoping by combining those 2 math programs, that so the kids, by the time they do get to middle school, they have just solid, facts and, understanding of math, and, there can be some kids obviously need help, but you know, just the idea, I'm excited to see that develop in the next couple of years, just a really strong continuum of, you know, K-12 math. So thank you for doing it on this level. It seems like you're doing a great job.
And we promote the standard mathematical practices, the eight of them, they are K-12. So we're really setting a foundation with those.
Right, but you know, but again, it's that it has to be just a district-wide, you know, I mean, you say that, and you know that the math teachers in the middle school are saying that, you know, that doesn't happen. Even though you know it is, but I just think as we get stronger as a district with, you know, with the focus on this and just really, you know, creating the attributes of the graduate starting in kindergarten, and it's just gonna make our whole, our curriculum, our, you know, teaching and everything so much stronger, so.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really looking forward to seeing those kids in kindergarten now progressing
Yeah,
through this
yeah,
program, the support that they have, and see them in a few years. the way they are thinking
And
about
middle
it.
school and high school teachers should be aware of, you know, what you guys do as well, because, I mean, there's just really strong teaching, you know, like you said, I mean, you know, it's easy to just teach.
Oh, yeah. How many kindergarten classes?
But, you know, I just look forward to that vision for our district.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
You as well.
I think one of the common threads that I've heard, I hear from them very often is we'll give it trends and see how we can improve instruction, not just at one student or a couple students or one class, but across the board. And I think you've heard them talk about the commonality and the alignment and the coherence and the strongest district has that coherence and alignment vertically and horizontally. And having coaches like Karen Andy allows that to happen, especially in a year that we're implementing a very new curriculum, and their ability to bring that consistency. Oftentimes you'll see a group of students might be stronger in math than another group of students because the instruction that teacher provides. Well, they are raising the ante for all the teachers and all the students in the school because they're providing that ongoing support. And they're working with students that need individualized support. They're working with teachers that need support and providing that enhanced learning for the students that are ready for that as well. So they were to see the benefits of this, not only the students academically this year, but moving forward, we'll see that moving to middle school. And I'm excited that they have worked with middle school teachers on their professional learning.
We'll be there tomorrow again.
And as you roll out a new vision for SRB high school for next year, and we'll have actually a K-12 team of math specialists that will be able to have that ongoing conversation. So I'm excited about that. So I want to thank the two of you. Those of you that didn't make the connection, Aaron, I'm going to make him embarrassed for a moment. Once again, is our teacher of the year from this past year. So you can hear some of why he was selected by his peers as the teacher of the year last spring, while we celebrate him this August. So thank you, the two of you. This was a great job. Thank you. This is a short and sweet. So every year in April, the Board of Education does an approval of our recommendations for the graduation dates. Typically waiting until after winter is over to make sure that we have everything work snow days. There's always a chance for inclement weather in the springtime, but we're gonna knock on some big wood and hope that doesn't happen. We are making the recommendation that the high school graduation take place Thursday evening, June 16th at 6 p.m. Our plan is to use the same sound, chairs, stage, all the equipment for the middle school and have both of them on the overend field. Take advantage of the same property, same equipment, everything, same setup. Do the middle school promotion summit at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. High school,
Wait, say that again?
2 o'clock in the afternoon. Middle school promotion ceremony. And then the high school, June 16th.
Oh, the same day.
And then the high school.
Putting it in my
graduation-
calendar, that's
Yeah.
right.
And then the high school graduation will be at 6 p.m. on June 16th. And if there's any inclement weather in that day, it'll roll over to the next day on the 17th, that Friday.
Any questions or?
6 p.m. June 16th.
6:16 at 6. 6:66.
I do have a question. Well, for facility wise, we have additional porta potties dropped off.
We typically do. We typically sort of have them for renters. We rent it just for that event. We're changing the layout slightly. Last year, we had all the parents, all the students, and the parents like on the field. We're gonna have the students in the field and the parents are gonna be. So we have some of the chairs that we need. And angle the stage that faces.
Oh, you're turning it.
Returning,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, in the past, the parents sat in the bleachers or going back then again. On the second year. We had everything spaced out for COVID last year, and the concerns are not as good as they were this time.
Any other questions or comments? Anybody have that in the calendar?
I don't think you have to. It's just point of information. You can if you want to, but it's not needed.
All right, Trevor, your report.
Okay, so we're getting back to normalcy here. On April 22nd and April 23rd is the high school musical. They're performing Legally Blonde, the musical. Students have been hard at work. They are there every night pretty much this week. And then when we return from break, it's technically they'll be there for like 5 hours after school, just getting ready, running the musical over and over again. Ticket sales are going online today or tomorrow or Friday. This week, they're going to $15 a piece. That is consistent with what has been done in the past. So watch out for that. I'll send information once I get the link to that. Students are excited, and I'm excited to see the students in production for that. In terms of negotiations, we are setting up a first date for our negotiation team to meet with Zach for OTPT and secretarial negotiations. Both will begin shortly. Interview process, we've done an internal review of our candidates for director of special education. We ended up, I think, 16 or 17 applicants altogether. Completed applications. We have pulled out 6 applicants that have varied experiences of director coordinator experiences, and our first round of interviews will be on the 21st of April, with the second round on April 28th, with the goal of bringing a final candidate or 2 candidates to the board the first meeting for your interview and then approval. And we've got 2 board members on the committee, Stephanie and Deborah on the committee for that. We also have a special education teacher, an administrator, director, interim director, Anthony and I, special education, and we're trying to get a parent.
Oh, you don't have a yet?
She has not responded to our inquiries yet.
Maybe that's great.
If she says no, we've got that. Yes. Okay. But I'm excited that we actually have good candidates that are potential options. We are scheduling the next set of training center walkthroughs in the schools, and the next round of non-advisory walkthroughs that will be taking place after the April vacation. And we're working with our admin team tomorrow to work on do that. We are working on a new sound system, or a sound system in this room. So Nicole and Shelley, who are remote people watching the internet, sound has been an issue in this room based upon who's presenting or talking to the table. What we've done is we have a soundboard. We're going to plan on putting a microphone throughout the table here, so the microphone in front of each of you. Those mics will go through the soundboard. The soundboard will be connected to the computer that's broadcasting on the Zoom. So it'll pick up each of you much clearer. We'll also pick up the microphone that's sitting at the podium there. And we'll also have a speaker that would broadcast out so that people in the audience will be able to hear us better as well. So that should improve the quality of audio for both people watching at home as well as people that are participating in the meeting. So hopefully we should have some of that in place for the next meeting, if not a meeting after that. Spring sports began. We had some scrimmages during the week last week, and this past Saturday was first track meet on home field and our first baseball game. Kids did a great job. The baseball team by the end of the first inning, they were up by over 11 to 1 or 12 when they were dominating at the beginning of the game there. They won. And Sunday was a phenomenal event. We had our unified showcase, which was a packed house. The gym was filled. We had our middle school, high school, we had Concord, and we had Seymour here. The kids had a great time. They showcased, they danced, they had pizza. It was a feel-good event. It was a grant that was awarded for Allie, who's one of our seniors. We had 5 received funding for it. And it was such a great event to do this as a first annual. We'll be missing it next year. The kids did a wonderful job with that. So just a feel-good day. And then on Friday afternoon, Stephanie and I attended the FLI hearing. That was about 2 hours long. We will not have the results from that hearing until 4 or 5 months from now. But it was an extensive amount of time in terms of prep time for our attorney prepping each of us, and then for the time that took to actually attend the hearing. But we don't have any information as to the ruling that will take some time before we get information and remedial changes.
Anything else? Anybody have any questions for that?
Will we have this, we're going to spend the fire costs with that.
Once I get the bill, I should see that at the end of this month. And then if there's any follow, there's obviously been addition, but I'm guessing it's probably gonna be at least $1,500 to $2,000.
For my report, that's covered pretty much everything. I was just gonna mention that March 21st, I attended the Oxford Middle School Honor Society ceremony. It was, the children were very impressive. I congratulate all of them on their accomplishment, especially in what they've gone through in the last couple of years. So they were obviously well trained in the ceremony, and they represented Oxford beautifully, and obviously we're proud of them. The parents are so proud. A lot of these ceremonies are going to be coming up. I'm not sure. I know Rob mentioned high school one. I'm not sure when that is, but it is a time now that we celebrate kids. Not only the athletes and the artists and the scholars and everything, but it's just so great to be back with the kids and to see them, really filling in those gaps that we were so concerned about.
The high school National Honor Society is scheduled for May 19th. At 6 o'clock. No, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. May 19th. 8 o'clock on May 19th. Sorry.
Yeah. I go to bed at 8:30.
I don't know why 8 o'clock, but that's what the email says.
So the other thing that I just want to mention very preliminarily that there have been questions that have come up as far as health curriculum, and I would just encourage people to, if they're curious about the health curriculum or the framework or the standards that people are talking about, go to the Department of Education and then just type in health curriculum, and you will see the standards and then the framework. That is not a curriculum. The framework is just you can imagine a frame, and then it's just the border, and then it's up to the district to put the picture in the frame. So it's up to the district to what the health curriculum will look like, and I know we're going to discuss it. K-12 in our curriculum subcommittee, but I would just encourage people to go and really understand how the whole process works and exactly what's in this. It's not a state mandated curriculum. There's not such a thing as a state. So we do have the autonomy as a district to decide, what our curriculum is and what it covers. So I just wanted to mention that. And then I think that's it for me. So subcommittees. Start with Joe.
Just a couple of things. Briefly talked to the superintendent, Bill, right now. Receiving calls about middle school baseball. Field. And I'm going to try to have that facilities committee meeting at some point, so we can get some answers.
We'll work in and quote to figure out what it can cost to repair so that we don't have to grade it.
What are the boys doing now for baseball?
Well, I had talked, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay, I talked to Sylvia and suggested that they put their schedule on away games until middle of, say, May to see if it'll dry up where they could play there. But until then, they just have to practice somewhere else. It's just, it's too soft. You can't even walk on it.
Right.
Last year
So
we had to
are
make
they
grades.
practicing?
They're practicing, just not on the field. Yeah,
Right, so they're just like in a field, not just not on a baseball.
correct.
Last year we had to make arrangements for them to play at the high school. We did not have much.
Well, I hope they don't, we're gonna do what we can so that they don't lose any part of their season. That's just not fair and not acceptable.
It's just, it's one of these things that I don't want to be brought up.
Yeah.
It's not on the board's part of this administration.
Right.
It's just that, I don't want to give them sandwich. There's moving parts to that. Second thing is, we put them out. We show that it's leaders will purchase whatever they should do in schools. And, I just like to misnomer mistakes that are going on in county. Just to address air quality issues. Let's not call this nonsense. It wastes a lot of people's time and energy. We have the kids in mind, least amount of disruptions. So as far as I'm concerned, the nonsense stops, okay? It's the best for the cost for the town, it's the best for the kids. And if someone wants to be, they know what I'm look it up, apply, follow, DAIA apply.com. Page 7.
Yeah. April 28th. Award ceremonies, it's awards.
Yes, the unified program, and I should have mentioned this earlier, was recognized as one of the top, as the top high school program in the state. This is not the second, I believe it's the second time they received this award. So they are recognized, or will be recognized at the unified banquet on the 26th of April. So we have to do that.
Full policy.
So we have a meeting scheduled for Thursday. So at our next full board meeting, I should have something substantive to report to the full board.
Well, at this point, we're waiting for the finance committee for the town to weigh in on the Board of Ed for us to react. We're pulling off our next subcommittee meeting. It'll be very shortly following the ruling that comes down. At the moment, we have no questions or feedback that we've received about our presentation at the finance committee that took place, was it a month ago?
Like March 8th or 9th.
So, yeah, about a month ago. And then right now we're in limbo, but we will be reacting very quickly once we have more information.
It is important for the public to know that on April 18th at 7:30 at Baker Farm School will be the public hearing for the budget. That's an opportunity for anyone in the public to come out and speak about their needs on the budget. We encourage our committee members to do so.
And, we keep getting accolades, which are very nice about our budget presentation, that it's been was the best budget presentation that the Board of Finance has ever seen. And I said, that's great, but what good is it for? But you gotta let us know.
Show us the money.
Yeah, I think next week we're gonna be, and we ask that we just get
notified, so we can get that meeting here.
Right, I mean, 2.5 weeks ago, they told me that it would be in front of the board the first week of April,
Right.
and that did not take place.
Yeah.
So, not 2 days.
They, you know, I mean, the thing is, they, I mean, they do like work, I mean, they do, you know, they're there 3 nights a week and they got all the budgets approved, and so we just give them. You know, we just go and spend our budget.
Together,